Looking for a way to get healthy? The Chef You and I program has the answer. Kathryn Raaker and chefs from around the nation will teach even the most inexperienced how to cook. Come into their kitchen and watch them take ordinary foods with loads of calories and fat and turn those foods into healthier dishes. You will be the first to get tips and ideas on foods that are easy to prepare. Now let's join Kathryn and today's chef and learn how to make today's recipes.
Hi, this is Kathryn Raaker of The Chef You and I. I am really excited today for our show because we were very privileged to have Celebrity Chef Jamie Gwen on our show, and she was very sweet about giving us 2 of her recipes, and we'll be talking about those in a little while. But we're going to start out because it takes a little time to make a peach cobbler, which I love making, and I know you will love it, especially when peaches like now are in season. There's sweet Georgia peaches, and they were on sale with my wonderful retail store here in the area where I live. So it's really simple to do. We're going to go through it. And I want to thank my assistant today, 2 assistants today, my producer and cameraman, Bill Raaker, and Marianne Merton, who comes with us every time and is really part of our show. And thank you. So the first thing that we're going to do today is we're going to make a classic, you could call it Bisquick, Jiffy, whatever you want, peach cobbler. I'm using Jiffy. I made one with just regular flour. You can make it any way you want to. But the first thing you do, and thanks to our wonderful Marianne, she did a lot of the peaches already for us. So we're going to cut up 2 more peaches, okay? And these peaches are just so sweet, I can't believe it. So I'm going to cut this out, and then I want to take that seed out, right? And, you know, I love to make peach pancakes. I like to make anything with peaches. They're so good. So that's all we need. So I'm going to do that. And so you want to cut them up in slices, right, like that. And we've already cleaned them, so we're going to put them in there. And so we used 6 peaches altogether. And you're going to use an 8.5 by 8. I'm using a glass bowl, and you do not have to put any like spray, Pam, or anything like that in it, because you're going to use actually a stick of butter, which will really, you don't need to do it. So we're going to do this other peach real quick, and we're going to get that together, and then we're going to make the flour mixture, the batter that goes on the actual, and then you're going to put your peaches with sugar, actually, last. So your batter goes in the pan first, and then your peaches. So let's do that. So that was easy. And then we're just going to cut this up real fast. And I got to tell you, I made a recipe the other day, and it called for 2 cups of sugar. Well, these peaches are so sweet, especially the Georgia peaches were so sweet. The actual recipe was just too much sugar, and we're all trying to watch our weight. So this recipe only calls for actually 1 cup of sugar, okay? So we're done with this. I'll put that in there, and I need to rinse my hands off for a minute, which is really good. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make the actual batter for the mixture. So you're going to need 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of Jiffy or Bisquick or flour. So you need 1 cup of the Bisquick or Jiffy or flour, 1 cup of milk that you want to put in there, which is going to moisten it, 1/2 a teaspoon of nutmeg. And so you're going to mix all of this, the milk, the Bisquick, and the nutmeg, and 1/2 a teaspoon of nutmeg, right? And you could actually use cinnamon. I like cinnamon a lot, so you want to mix this together, right? And it doesn't have to become a major batter. You don't have to, you're just mixing all the ingredients together. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is I melted 1 stick of butter, okay? And so then you just pour this in, right? And then you add your batter. And I've already preheated the oven to actually 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay? Now that's what that looks like. You can see that. So you're going like, how's that going to work, right? Well, guess what? When you add the peaches, you add the sugar, and you put it in for 50 to 60 minutes, it's going to come out so wonderful, you're not going to believe it. And we're going to serve it with beautiful vanilla ice cream. What a wonderful dessert. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the peaches and actually stir together sugar and the peaches. And then we're going to spoon it on top of that. Okay, so that's 1 cup of sugar. And then I'm just going to mix this real fast with the peaches, blend it in, and then we're going to spoon those peaches on top of the batter. All right. So that even looks like a lot of sugar to me. I mean, if you want to cut the sugar down, you could. Okay. And just drop that in. And then we're going to put that in the oven for 50 to 60 minutes. And then at the end of the show, you're going to get to see how beautiful it is. Really simple to do. And when they're you know, the price is right on peaches or any kind of fruit is when you buy it. And I like to freeze things and freeze dried things, and you know, that's fun. So, and make all kinds of things. So I love peaches. I know you will too. So, anyhow, there we go. So it's pretty simple. Feels like fun to me. I can't wait to eat this, actually. This will be good. So, I used 6 peaches. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back after we put this in the oven. Put it in the oven first. Okay. In a preheated 375 degree oven. All right. And we're going to go 60 minutes with it. So, in about an hour, we'll check it, or a little bit before an hour, we'll check it, and we'll see what happens. We'll be right back for our second recipe. We're back on the Chef You and I, and this is one of the recipes that Celebrity Chef Jamie Gwen actually provided for us. She was on my radio show, by the way, as well. This is called shrimp feta and watermelon salad, and for 90-degree weather, this is great. So the ingredients actually are 2 cups of arugula, baby arugula, or wild arugula, and we've already chopped up a lot of our watermelon in squares, and then we're going to just chop this up a little bit, and then 12 fresh mint leaves cut into thin strips, which we'll do, 1 pound of fresh shrimp, and peeled and deveined, 1 tablespoon of freshly grated lemon zest, salt and freshly ground pepper, extra virgin olive oil, and 2 teaspoons of sherry wine vinegar. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're actually going to cut up this extra watermelon, right? I have clean hands, by the way, and we're going to do this in chunks, right? And that, okay, so... and actually like this and this, right? And then simple, okay? And then we're going to place that, after we get it done, onto the arugula on your plate, the serving plates, right? So you just want to chop these up. This is really a fun salad, okay? And we'll do that. All right, so we've got that done. Pretty simple. I love watermelon. It's so good for you. You can do so many things with watermelon. It's unreal. So now what we want to do is I'm going to use a smaller knife here. We're going to cut up into strips your fresh mint leaves. And that's pretty easy. You just do it in strips. And, oh, can you smell that? That mint smells so good. I can't believe it. It just smells wonderful. And I love tea, and, you know, even hot tea or cold tea. I love mint in it. And mint's really, really good for you, by the way. I love mint. And you can do a lot of things with it. So when I was in one of the, oh, let me move this out of the way. And I'm going to move this out of the way. And so you can see me cutting up the mint in strips, right? So, and then you want to do 12 of those. So we have 12. And you want to take the ends off as well. Okay, so now I've done that. So I'm going to do this in strips, a little end there, right? And you can have, you know, serve this for company, a grill out, whatever. It'll be so good. I just love this kind of, I love this kind of thing. We're going to leave a couple mint leaves for the rest. So we'll put these over here, okay? So the next thing we're going to do, actually, is, and also we're going to be grilling our shrimp on the grill, okay? And we'll be doing that in a minute. But the next thing I want to do is I'm going to wipe this off real quick. And then I'm going to bring my plate over here because I want to plate this for a minute or two. And then we get that done. So I'll take one plate. You want to take your arugula. And this has already been washed. This is what I love about when you buy it at the store, especially baby arugula. It's so nice to work with. So you want to put your arugula onto the plate. And it's just really, really a nice, fresh, I love the taste of arugula. It's so good. So I may put a little bit more on there, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to put our watermelon on top of it. And use this too. We'll use a lot of it. Well, I love watermelon. Everybody does, right? And then we're going to put feta cheese on top of this. And whoops. All right. There we go. And then feta cheese, maybe a little bit of pepper. Maybe. Some people like that. A little bit of salt. Actually makes the watermelon taste even better. And then we're going to add some feta cheese. And then we're going to refrigerate this before we actually grill the shrimp. Okay? I actually put some mint leaves on top of it. We're going to refrigerate that in a second. And I'm going to do 2 more plates as well. Okay? So I'm going to put this one in the refrigerator. We're going to go out onto the grill and grill our shrimp now. And we'll be right back after these important messages. We're back, and the next thing you do to get the shrimp ready to go is we are going to put lemon zest on it and salt and pepper. So I have this wonderful little zester that I love using on our show, and I love lemon zest, so I am going to put some, because you got a pound of shrimp in here, and they've been deveined, and you can either, I feel that you could either use, some people like to have the shrimp already frozen. You could, I think you could do it this way and then put the shrimp on actually the grill. Now she calls for actually raw shrimp, and she does the whole thing on the grill like that. Now I put a lot of lemon zest in here, and then I'm going to add salt and pepper. And then we're going to go out to the grill. And we're going to heat the shrimp up, and it won't take long. Now, if you're doing it with raw shrimp and you deveined them and you've got them ready to go out on the grill, it takes a little longer. But these are already frozen, deveined, and ready to go. So we're just going to heat them up and give them a little bit of, heat on the grill. So we'll be right back. We're going to go out to the grill and get these done. Okay, we've put our shrimp on the grill, and I'm using, instead of putting it directly on the grill, I'm using a KitchenAid metal plate that I do, because shrimp sometimes can be very delicate. So actually this is really pretty simple. And I think you'll really enjoy having this dish, okay? So it'll just take a minute or two till they're browned. And then we'll take them off the grill and put the salad together, and then we'll be able to serve it to our guest as a first course, okay? And then we're going to do our skirt or round steak that we're cooking with a really very unusual sauce. So we're just going to take a break until these are done, and we'll be right back. And now we've only have 3 people for dinner. This recipe calls for 4 servings, okay? But because we only had 3 people, that's what we're doing. So the first thing we want to do is that we want to drizzle a little bit of the sherry, right, over each salad, right? And this is a little bit more than 2 teaspoons, but I'm not using all of it, right? And then I'm going to drizzle the olive oil over that. And then we're going to put the shrimp on top of it. And then you're going to have a wonderful dish. So, wow, this looks so good. And what a wonderful beginning or appetizer, even for lunch maybe, it can be a lunch or dinner. So we're going to take our shrimp and we're going to add them onto our plate. So look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? And I love shrimp. My grandmother used to take me to a restaurant when I was a little girl. And I'm using 5 shrimp for each plate, okay? And we'll do that, right? And then I'll put a little bit. Okay, so this is one of them. And then I'm going to put these on the others. And this looks really delicious. And your company or friends or family will absolutely love this dish. Let's do that. Okay. Oh, right. That's that. And we'll do this next one. Okay, I already put the olive oil and stuff on that one already. So, okay. And then, right. So, we're almost done. And we're going to serve this. And we're going to do our steak, which will be delicious. It's a really cool recipe. I'm adding this more to a couple plates. And guess what? We are finished with this beautiful salad. And look at how gorgeous it looks. And we'll take a break. And actually, we're going to take a little break. Hold on a second. And then we're going to tell you what the next recipe is. It's a grilled pesto marinated skirt steak with blue cheese fondue. So we are changing the recipe just a little bit because one of the people actually that is doesn't like blue cheese. We're going to use a feta cheese. But in her original recipe, the Celebrity Chef Jamie Gwen, I'm going to give you those right after we come back after this important break on The Chef You and I. I'm back on The Chef You and I, and we're going to make my favorite thing ever, and that is pesto. And I make a spinach basil pesto, and I'm going to teach you how to make it really quick because on our steak we put fresh pesto, okay? So the first thing you want to do is you want to boil water, which I've done, all right? And you want to take 2 cups of basil, and our camera guy is going to come over and actually see us do it. We're going to take our basil, 2 cups of basil, and also we're going to put a spinach. This is 4 cups of spinach, and put that in there, and you want to keep that in there for 1 minute, okay? And I want to actually push that down a little bit because what you want to do is you just want it to and then what you're going to do, it's going to get real soft. And then we're going to take as much water out of this as possible, right? And then, because see how little you have now? This is unreal. So that's I think that's about a minute. And then you're going to put it into, no, it's not. We're getting there. And as soon as that's done, what we're going to do is we're going to put it in an ice bath. And actually, that's what we usually do. So this is a simple way of doing it. So I'm going to turn that off. And I think it's about a minute. Oh, okay, so we have about 10 or 15 seconds left. And we can take it out. So I'm going to take the ice bath and I'm going to bring it over here. And so we are now going to drain the spinach and basil that we've cooked for a minute. And I've turned the heat off. I want to do this quickly. I want to actually strain it from the hot water. And we're going to get out as much water as we can out of this. And now quickly, what we're going to do is we're going to put it into an ice bath. All right. And then what we want to do immediately after we do this is we're going to get as much water out of this as possible, because it's really important to do that. And if you're going to put nuts in it, which I didn't do this time because there's a lot of people that are allergic to nuts, and then we're going to drain these and get as much water out and chop the greens roughly. So we're going to do this now. We're going to do it again. We're going to actually take the spinach out of the ice bath because it's really cold now. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take and put a half a cup of olive oil, Parmesan cheese, and we're going to cut up we're going to move this over a little bit, and I just spilled it. What can I do? Well, that happens on television. So we're going to cut this up real as rough as we can, because then we're going to put this into the food processor, and then the food processor is going to do all the work for the pesto. So some people use nuts like pine nuts or walnuts, and this, sometimes I use nuts, but if I'm serving it to a large crowd and I'm not sure if they're allergic to nuts, I'm not going to do that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take and put my greens into my food processor, and I did wash my hands, so that's what you do. Easy, really simple to do, and it doesn't make a lot. That's what surprised me. It doesn't make a lot. And so then you want to take and your salt, and that is actually about 1 teaspoon of salt. And a lot of people don't like a lot of salt. So, and then you want to put your olive oil in. That's a half a cup of olive oil. And then your Parmesan cheese. And that's a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese. And that's how simple this is. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to put it on here. And we are going to pulse it for just a few seconds until it gets smooth. Okay? I'm going to look at it and see how it looks. And it's getting there. So you want to just pulse it a little bit more. You can pretty well tell. Okay, so that should be done. So now you want to put it into a container, and then you can actually then put it in the refrigerator and keep it, which is nice. Now you have fresh pesto sauce, so I'll show you what it looks like. So you want to take the blade out of your food processor and make it easy on yourself. Now this looks beautiful. I want you to see that with the camera. That's what it should look like after you've done it. So I'm going to put this in here, and I'm going to refrigerate it, right? And you can see little bits of cheese, the Parmesan cheese, which I love this recipe because it's so simple. And if you have an allergy to onions or garlic, then guess what? You can have great pesto sauce without it. And this is what we're going to use on the steak, and which is great because we have to put the steak in ahead of time in the refrigerator for 4 hours. to get everything done. Okay, so, or overnight. So now you know how to make pesto. I'm going to put this in the sink. And the wonderful thing is I'm going to put this in the refrigerator and get it really nice and cold and put it on my steak, and we'll go from there. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back after these important messages. We're back on the Chef You and I, and the next recipe that we're making is a grilled pesto marinated skirt steak with blue cheese fondue. We're changing Jamie Gwen's recipe a little bit because we have a few people that are with us tonight that don't like blue cheese. So we're using feta instead, but you have to prepare your steak ahead of time, and you use either fresh pesto or homemade pesto, which I'm going to show you all how to make so that you can do it for your next event that you're doing. But they ask you to scrape all of the pesto off because this has been in the refrigerator now for about 4 hours, or you can even actually do it overnight, all right, because you don't want the steak to burn, right? And some people like their steaks red, right? And some people rare, and some people like it medium rare, and some people, but with this type of steak, we're going to cut this. We're going to put this in, actually, this dish, right? So just get all that pesto off of there. Now, what you want to do is put it in the dish, because what we're going to do is we're taking it outside and grilling it. And you do it about 6 to 8 minutes on each side, okay? Especially with the grill being so hot. We're going to do that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make the sauce that goes over this, the fondue part of it. So you can see I used a lot of pesto on this. So I'm just scraping it off. And I did this, this is homemade pesto, because most of you know that I'm allergic to garlic. So there's lots of nice recipes without garlic or onion for pesto, because some people use onion or whatever on it, but we didn't. So this turned out really nice. And it makes actually this recipe that I have makes about 2 cups of pesto. Okay, so that's about right. Okay, we got it. So we're going to take this out to the grill, and we're going to grill this. And so we're going to take a real short break while we clean this up and take it out to the grill. We're back on the Chef You and I, and what we're doing next now is we're going to actually chop our parsley up. We need 3 tablespoons of parsley. So my wonderful assistant Marion got them ready for us, and we are now cutting them up because we're going to use 3 tablespoons of parsley in our sauce, okay? And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our heavy cream, 2 cups of heavy cream, okay? And what we're going to do with that is we're going to actually place it in. You can either do this on the stovetop, and that's what she suggested doing, but I like to use my electric skillet to do it because it makes it just as easy, and you can see what I'm doing. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to add the double cream, and we're going to actually turn it on low or medium, and you just want to reduce it by 1/3. So you have to leave it on until it reduces to 1/3. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add our cheese. And she uses blue cheese, and I'm using feta cheese. And this recipe is actually Chef Jamie Gwen, Celebrity Chef Jamie Gwen's recipe. So I'm adding a little different twist to it. So we're going to put this over here. And our steak is done, and we could not get skirt steaks, but we used a different type of steak that you can do on the diagonal. And you can see it's done. We're letting it rest for a few minutes, like 15 minutes before you actually start slicing it. And then we'll pour this heavy cream on top of it. And then we're serving that with mashed potatoes and some beets. And guess what? Our dessert, our peach cobbler, is done. So just a second, I need to wash my hands for a minute. Get that off of there, and need a paper towel. Be right back. Got it. So And I want to clean this off a little bit. Okay. So we're watching this because we don't want it actually to, we want it to simmer and reduce it. Okay. So it's making a sauce, and then we're going to add our cheese to it, gets melted. Then we add our pepper and our chopped parsley to it. Okay? So this makes it really, really simple, and we're going to have a wonderful dish with that. So we're going to slice our beef, we're going to use our cream sauce, and our potatoes are almost done, and we'll take a little break. We're back on the Chef U&I, and we're going to add our cheese now to the actual, it's been reduced by actually 1/3. So what I'm doing is I'm making sure that it melts the cheese, right? And you could put this in a fondue and do the same thing, actually. But you want to get the cheese really melted, all right? So that's what we're doing. And then it'll thicken up, actually. And then I'm going to add the parsley to it. And so you slowly add the cheese and whisk until the cheese is melted and the mixture is absolutely smooth. Okay? Because you don't want it to stick actually to the skillet, and it'll ruin the thing. So it's slowly, and it's on warm right now, so it'll take a little bit of time for it to melt. Okay, but it'll start melting in a minute, and it'll be great. So I think you're going to really enjoy this. So I'm going to go over the actual ingredients again. You need 2 to 2.5 pounds of skirt steak, 2 cups of homemade or store-bought pesto, salt and freshly ground pepper, and for our blue cheese or cheese fondue, 2 cups of heavy cream, 6 ounces of blue cheese, or I used feta, and a 1/4 teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper, and 3 tablespoons of chopped freshly chopped parsley. So it's almost done. And we're going to add the pepper into this. This looks beautiful, actually. This is going to be great for the topping on top of the steak and with our mashed potatoes. And we're serving beets with it. And then we're serving the dessert of the beautiful peach cobbler. So, all right, I think we're ready to put in our parsley. So you want 3 tablespoons of parsley. All right. 1, 2, and 3. So that's 3 tablespoons. Right. All right, so now we've got that in there. We want to stir that around. Okay. I might have put 4, and then I want to grind my pepper in there as well. Just smooth this up a little. That's the bad thing about being short. So that's freshly ground pepper. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to keep this on warm for a little while, or actually turn it off, right? And we're going to cut our steak up now because we're going to serve this with our steak. So we'll just take a real short break, and I'll bring the steak over, and we'll slice the steak diagonally, set the plates up, and plate it. And guess what? We'll be able to eat a wonderful dinner. All right, we'll be right back. We're back on the Chef U&I, and I'm actually cutting the steak diagonally, and that's the color you would like to have it. Because if you make it any more done, it actually doesn't, it's tougher. So this is usually the way you do it, and this is the way it's done diagonally. So it's thin slices like this, all right? And this was a pretty big steak, actually. I think that was more like 3 pounds instead of 2 pounds. But I couldn't get a skirt steak today, so I decided to do this. So now we're going to plate one of the plates so you can see how everything comes together. And the sauce actually goes over the steak. Okay, so that's one. So we'll move that. And then I need another piece of the steak. This is a lot. And this is actually going to feed, you could do this for 4 people or more, okay? So we want to do it on the diagonal again. So see how easy that cuts? That's beautiful. So, and I will actually have the recipe for my pesto and show you later on how pesto is made easily. And I think it'll be great. So I think this is going to be enough meat, and we can use the rest of the meat for another dish, right? Okay. So we're going to plate this right now. So, and then we're going to put the sauce on top of it. All right. So let's do that. And I have the mashed potatoes already done, and we're going to do this right now. So just let me take a little break. And now this is the part I love, the piece de resistance. So we're going to plate this now, right, like that. And there, and there. And then we're going to actually put the sauce on top of it. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And some people might want a little bit more, okay? And then we're going to do the potatoes. And looks delicious to me. And this already has chives in it, which is really nice. So there's that. That's the first plate. And then let's do the second, because everybody's really hungry. At least in my house, they're hungry. And, you know, you can make this for a dinner party, right? And you can cut that a little bit more. I'm going to cut that a little bit more. So I think this is beautiful. And I want to thank Jaime Gwen again. And you can go up to her website real quick. Okay, and then I'm going to put the sauce on this. Right. All right. Nice. Okay. And then some mashed potatoes for this person. And we're serving this with beets as well, which is really a nice, they're sweet beets. So that'll be a nice, beautiful dinner. And so, anyhow, very easy meal to put together. And actually, the most calories you're going to get is in your sauce, in your fondue sauce, okay? So I'll do that. Well, right. We'll save that for later. And then put this on there. And we'll be back in a minute after this. And we're going to serve our people. And then we're going to show the dessert with ice cream. And it's actually delicious. All right. So there you go. It's very, very simple recipe. And thanks to Jaime Gwen, we have a beautiful dinner ahead. And we'll be right back. We're back on the Chef You and I. Here's the piece de resistance. We served our dinner. We did our appetizer, which was our salad, and then we had our wonderful beef, our skirt steak or whatever beef type with a fondue, a beautiful sauce. And now we're going to be able to serve our beautiful peach cobbler, and I want the camera to get a good picture of this because it turned out beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. I can't wait for my guests to try it. And we're going to plate this right on here. And it's still warm. We took it out of the oven just a few minutes ago. And now what we're going to do is we're going to put some yogurt instead of ice cream on top of it. And we're going to serve it to all three. So let me do it for each person. And the nice thing about this is that it was so easy to make. Took only 50 to 60 minutes. It actually took at 375 60 minutes in my actual oven. And I have a gas oven, so you can tell actually And this kind of broke up a little bit, but who cares? Because you're going to put ice cream on top of it, and it looks luscious. And these are Georgia peaches that you will really love. Or you can use any peaches, but I like Georgia peaches. So we're going to put a little bit of ice cream on that one and a little ice cream on this one. And we're going to serve it to our guest. And this has been a perfect show. I want to say bon appetit to all of you. Join us next time on The Chef You and I. And we're very excited about this show because we want to thank Chef Jamie Gwen for giving us her 2 recipes. And we'll see you next time on The Chef You and I. Don't forget to go to our website at chefyouandi.com. See you soon.
Thanks for joining us on the Chef You and I show today. We'll be back next week with another great and healthy recipe. Don't forget to visit our website, thechefyouandi.com, for all of our featured recipes, cooking tips, and clips of the show.